Hello, Class 8, and a very warm good morning to all of you. And I welcome you all to your social science class. So, students, you all were having your PT2 exam these days, and you all were very busy preparing for that, isn't it? And today was your last exam, which was social science. That is the subject which I teach you. So, I hope that you all have done really well. And when I check your papers, then I hope that I don't get disappointed. Okay, so students, we were doing the chapter industries, and as you can see on the screen, today we are going to discuss some of the important questions from industries. We have already covered the chapter from page number 50 to 58, and since the last few days I have not shared with you any homework or any questions as such because you all were busy preparing for your PT2 examination. That is why, students, today I thought that I will not start anything new with you all. We will discuss the we are going to discuss the important questions from within the chapter, that is industries, from your geography textbook. So students, so far, this is just a reminder that so far we have completed till the iron and steel industries. We studied about TISCO yesterday and also about the iron and steel industry in Pittsburgh, that is USA. So starting from the very beginning of the chapter till whatever we have completed, that is from page number 50 to 58, let us quickly discuss some of the important questions. So in this class for today, if you all go through the video and the slides well, you will see lots of questions from various categories, and I'll be helping you out with the answers. I might not give you the complete answer for each and every question, but I'll at least give you hints so that when you all sit to write the answers in your copy, you get a proper idea what to write and what not to write. Okay, so before we begin discussing the question answers, let me quickly give you the learning outcome for today. So students, after today's discussion, after today's class, you all will be able to frame answers to some of the important questions from the topics from the chapter industry that have been discussed so far. Okay, so let us begin. So we first begin with the objective type questions, which are for 1 marks. So the first question, what is the basic function of secondary activities or manufacturing? So you already know that industry is a part of the secondary sector or secondary activities. So what is the basic function of any secondary activity? Well, the basic function of any secondary activity or manufacturing is to change raw materials into finished products. And remember that the value of the finished products are always more than the raw materials. Okay, so this is the basic function of secondary activities or manufacturing. Next, of what is paper made up from? I gave you an example about how paper is made, and I also shared a video with you all. Yes or no, before a few days. So if you have watched that video, then I'm sure the answer is already in your mind. Paper is made from pulp. Next, name the classification of industries on the basis of raw materials used by them. So, how many types of industries are there based on raw materials? I'm sure you remember, students, there are 4 such types of industries: agro-based, mineral-based, marine-based, and foreign-based. So these are the classification of industries on the basis of raw materials used by them. The next question, by whom are the private sector industries owned and operated? So you remember we distinguished between private sector industries and public sector industries. So when I say public sector industry, then it is owned by whom? It is owned by the government. So just the opposite of public sector is the private sector. So by whom are the private sector industries owned and operated? It is owned and operated by individuals or group of individuals privately. For example, I told you about TISCO yesterday. You remember the full form of TISCO? Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited. So what is TISCO? Is it a private sector industry or a public sector industry? Well, it belonged to the Tata industry, right? That is why it is a private sector industry, which is owned by the Tata company. Next, what does an industrial system consist of? Well, this is the most simple answer out of all the questions, I'm sure. The industrial system, just like agricultural system, is made up of inputs, outputs, and lastly, Not lastly, output is the last. In the middle comes processes. So it is input, processes, output. For example, raw materials, the various stages of production, and finally the finished goods. So this is what industrial system consists of. Let's move on to the next set of questions. These are all 1-mark questions again. How does an industrial region emerge? So I told you industrial region does not emerge just here and there haphazardly. It emerges when a number of industries are located close to each other and they share the benefits of their closeness. So when various industries always share, some of them they share, for example, iron and steel industry, what they do share? What do they share? They share iron in the purified form, whereby various things are made, for example, in a motor company by taking the iron, isn't it? So industrial region emerges when a number of industries are located close to each other and they share the benefit of their closeness. Next, define sunrise industries. So this is again something which I have done a detailed discussion on before during one of the recorded classes. So sunshine industries are basically the new industries. Yes or no? They are the emerging industries, we can say, and it includes the industries of wellness, hospitality, and knowledge. Next, define the process of smelting. So, you remember how is smelting done? What is this process of smelting? Well, smelting is the process whereby minerals are extracted from their ores, that is from the raw form, by heating behind the melting point, just like iron is melted to make steel out of it. Number 9 is again very simple. TISCO, I already gave you the meaning, I already gave you the full form, so I'm sure you can write it on your own. Next, on what basis are industries classified? So do you remember the various factors which enables industries to be classified into different types? Okay, I'll help you out. So industries are classified on the basis of number 1, raw materials, number 2, size, and then ownership. Based on raw materials, you already know they are divided into agro-based, marine-based, forest-based, etc. Based on size, they are either large-scale industries or small-scale or domestic industries. And then based on ownership, of course, it is either private or public industries. So these are the important 1-mark questions which I felt that it will help you out for your studies of this chapter. So that is why these are the important 1-mark questions that I have decided to share with you. Well, once we are done with the 1-mark questions, let's move on to the 3 marks questions, which comes under the category of short answer type questions. So quickly let us see what the questions are. So first question, why was Sakchi chosen to set up the steel plant? So you remember TISCO is established at Sakchi, at a place called Sakchi. So why was that place chosen? Well, that place was chosen because of several reasons. You remember Kalimati station, which is only 32 kilometers away from it. You remember it was close to the iron, coal and manganese deposits and also the large market of Kolkata. Then also, TISCO gets coal from the Jharia coal fields, then limestone, manganese, etc. from the neighboring states, and of course, the rivers called Kharkai and Subarnarekha, they ensure sufficient water. And also, the government initiatives provide adequate capital for these later development. So these are the various regions, these are the various reasons which fulfill the process of industrialization in a place called Sakchi. Next question. What was the ideal location for iron and steel industry before 1800 AD and after 1950? Well, do you remember? Before 1800 AD, iron and steel industry were located where? It were located near those places where raw materials, where power supply and water supply were easily available. But how did the concept of ideal location of iron and steel industry all of it change? Well, after 1950, it began to be located on large areas of flat land near the seaports. This is because by the time steel works had become very large and also iron ore had to be imported overseas. And for that, obviously, sea routes are the best. So before The ideal location for iron and steel industry were only those places which fulfills the normal criteria for setting up a factory. But later on, for transporting it well, what was necessary? It was necessary to build the iron and steel industry somewhere in the port areas. So the last 3-mark question for you. Define the concept of industrial system briefly. So, what is the industrial system? Well, industrial system consists of inputs, processes and outputs, which I already told you. So here for this answer, you need to give examples. For example, for raw materials, you can write about the inputs. You can include labor, cost of land, transportation, power, etc. Then processes includes a wide range of activities that convert the raw materials into finished products. And finished products means the output, which is again very essential of the industrial system. Got it? So these are some of the important 3-mark questions which I felt will help you for your exams later on. So next we have one long answer type question, and this question is based on the classification of industries. So I already told you before that classification of industries are done mainly based on 3 things: material, size and ownership. Based on raw materials, it can be classified as agro-based, forest-based, marine-based, mineral-based, etc. Based on size, it can be either a large industry or a small-scale industry or a domestic industry, isn't it? And based on ownership, it can be either private or public or joint or community ownership. So since it is for 5 marks, that is why students, you will have to explain each and every point in details and make sure that you do not miss out even a single point. Everything is important to write. Remember that. So this brings us to the end of the various questions. Now we come to the other set of questions, which is picture based. So I have 2 pictures here together. At the top you have picture number 1 and then you have picture number 2 at the bottom. I want you all to have a clear look at both the pictures, and then just in the next slide I'm giving you the questions for this. Okay, so I hope you all have observed both the pictures well. Let's move on to the questions which I have made based on these pictures. So based on picture number 1, you need to write the answers of these questions. What does the above picture show? Where was the iron and steel industry located before 1800 AD? And then picture 2, name the major railway station shown in the picture. And what does the picture show? So these are the 2 picture based questions which you all need to answer. And for these questions, I'm not going to help you out. You need to observe the pictures yourself and use your brain and then write down the answers. All right. So students, today I have shared a lot of question answers with you all. I hope you all are clear with whatever I have tried to explain you, whatever I have tried to discuss with you. So today, since your PT2 exams are over, that is why I have a very important task for you all. And the task is to write all these question answers in your social science geography copy and submit it to me when you come to school on the 18th and after. All right, so this is perhaps our last online class together. We already had a live class yesterday and today is perhaps our last recorded class. So after today, whenever we will meet in the school, and all the other chapters that are to be covered will be done in the school itself. And also, I'll make sure that I get all the copies from you all, whereby I can check all the question answers, not the answers, but the questions which I have given to you today through this PPT. So students, I am sharing the PPT in the group and also it will be in your Google Classroom, so you all can have a good look at it. And then this time I don't want you all to send me the homework in Google Classroom. What you will do is you will write it in your copy, and as I told you, you will submit me on the day when you first come to school. So thank you so much for all your cooperation during these days, during our online sessions. And also I would like to wish you all a very happy Bihu. And hopefully we get to meet soon on the 18th and after. Thank you once again.